And I would like to request Nancy and then Congressman Hunter to say a few words.
Thank you so much, Jeevan. Thank you. Thank you to everyone and good evening. I first want to start by thanking you for allowing me to have a few minutes with you tonight. And I have to say that in talking with so many people, seeing friends, meeting new friends, that I'm so inspired and so proud to be here. And tonight's theme about renewing our commitment, I tell you as the district attorney and as a member of our community that I'm proud to renew my own personal commitment and that of my office to promote unity and to celebrate our diversity. You see, my office is populated by many people from many cultures. It's very important to me that if somebody comes into my office who has been impacted by crime or hurt by crime, that they see or meet someone who can share a similar or familiar background. So they know that they can trust that the work that we're doing to help them go get past whatever the crime that has been committed against them is done with caring, with understanding, and with sensitivity. But I will say, as you all know, it is never more important than now for us to come together. Because across this country, we are seeing hate crimes. As you heard earlier, the Indian gentleman who was murdered in Kansas with the words, "Get out of my country." These are despicable crimes, and it's not the America that we want or that we created. After the election in November, we created a hotline for people to report hate crimes so that we could address them immediately and not allow that type of behavior to fester or to grow in our communities. We spend our time educating all of our community about the different cultures, learning about one another so that we can come together and we can work together. Even though the leadership of America does not appear to embrace diversity, and I'll say that's probably an understatement, it is through our commitment, all of us, to hold the beauty of our diverse communities. And that is what makes us stronger. I will tell you that in 1964, the Civil Rights Act was passed, signed into law by President Johnson. That law, the constitutionality of that law, was upheld by then Chief Justice Earl Warren, who once was the district attorney of Alameda County, and at whose desk I have the honor of sitting every day. That law guaranteed all members of our community to live a life free of discrimination based on race, gender, religion, religious affiliation, nationality, and others. And in that time, so many people sacrificed their lives and so much to fight for those rights. And here we are once again, called into action to fight those battles. But you know and I know that this is a different time. And it's different because of organizations like the Unity Community Federation. Because our Bay Area and all parts of our America celebrate our diverse communities. And each of us is an ambassador of our history, our diverse cultures, and our unique contributions that we make to keep America and our community safe, protected, and thriving. And for me, justice, and for all of us, justice is a core value and principle of our America. And we will rise to promote and ensure that Lady Justice is afforded to all. We have, after all, joined together to build a stronger and more hopeful America, where all members of our community live together in unity and peace without any fear of violence or discrimination. And I'm proud to stand with all of you here tonight and with the beautiful, diverse society we have created in our community, a true melting pot of the world. As ambassadors, the celebration does not end here tonight. Our efforts are a pathway for ourselves and our future generations. And it is never more important than now to come together and show the power and the strength and the beauty of our unity. I thank you for allowing me to be with you tonight, and I thank you for all that you're doing to keep our community safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Former Congressman Mike Hunt.
Thank you very much. I didn't expect to speak tonight, but let me first say that Congressman Rokana is not here because they just finished voting their last vote, so he must be on his way. And I think that a lot of us need to understand that a lot of times our congressional representatives are not present because of the work that they have to do. And this evening, I think when I look around and we listen to the words of Jeevan for the last 16 years, I remember the very first and second one most vividly right after 9/11, that the effort to bring everybody together was one of the most moving and sincere act that I've seen a community come together right after 9/11. Tonight, we have that diversity and that unity. We have two women who are Asian Americans. One, both of them hold statewide offices, like Betty Yee, she's our Board of Equalization. She represents a few million people. And then we have Fiona Ma, who's running for state treasurer, who's our controller. You see Betty Yee's name, I think. Whose name do we see on our checks, the state checks?
Betty Yee.
Betty Yee's, right? That's pretty cool because Yee is a 3-letter last name and you don't have to read a lot of letters. But that's how important this gathering is for the IACF that Jeevan had put together. It's the reputation. And to have someone like Dr. Abesh to MC this evening is really a great kind of a person that has a lot of humility, humor, and delivered a good message tonight about being the man, the person in the middle, and sort of makes you understand that us citizens are sometimes in the middle between our government and what I think is our Constitution. And I just thought I'd be just a bit provocative because the kinds of things that our district attorney has done in these past few years that I got to know her. She brought to me the issue of 500,000 rape kits being sitting on the shelves, not being analyzed. That meant 500,000 people across this country did not have the benefit of science the DNA could have given in terms of the kinds of judgments that we needed to be able to produce based upon science. And she brought it forward from this area and made it a national issue. And now we have over we're just reducing that 500,000 backlog little by little, but because of someone who was here speaking up on all of our behalves. And I think that that's the kind of law enforcement personnel we need to have as members of emerging communities and communities that have been here for a while, to have that faith in our elected officials. And so here's my point, that we're all here and we're all a little bit worried now because of the rhetoric that's coming out of Capitol Hill from the administration and the kinds of things that we're hearing about Muslim registry or deportation that Mr. Corsi had really explained very clearly, that nobody escapes that kind of government if it's kept unchecked. And the thing that keeps us going is the knowledge and education that we share with each other. So now we all know about the Historia Secreta, that not only Japanese Americans were targeted, but also German Americans, Italian Americans. And so today we share that kind of legacy of the kind of government that this country could be, should be. It won't be if we stay vigilant and make sure that we understand the Constitution. And here's the point. We pass laws since 1798, the Alien Sedition Act. That law, even today, allows the president to be able to detain, incarcerate, deport people based upon that administration's sentiment about the other person, the targeted person. So we ought to be targeted, and it's legal because it's a law that's been passed. The Patriot Act allowed that to happen even more easily for executive officers that don't think clearly about the Constitution. So we as citizens have a responsibility to change the laws that need to be changed. It challenges constitutionality. And that's why this kind of an organization, this kind of gathering is important, because we can share this knowledge, we can share this sentiment, we can share the responsibility of being citizens to make sure that the laws that gets passed in Congress are moral, American, and constitutional. It could be the other way around, and the trick is it's legal. So we have to fix the stuff that's going on in Congress. So, as Americans, as citizens, we have the responsibility to stand up for each other. And I know that this kind of a function, this kind of dinner, will help us stand together in the face of the kinds of things that are coming down the road that says we don't belong here. But we do belong here. And we're not going anywhere, are we? We're here to stay. We're here to participate. We're here to make this country a perfect union.
Thank you very much. We are really delighted and honored to have you. I would like to just talk about this wonderful young man who just drove all the way, and his name is Adarsh Konda. He is the son of our director. His name is Dr. Ramesh Konda, who has been instrumental in putting a lot of things together here that you see. He has worked very hard, very hard. And his son, he has an organization called All Against Alcohol and Drug Abuse, AAADA.org. And he founded it. He's here amongst us. Adarsh, where are you? Adarsh? Very, very proud of young people like you. His goal is to promote awareness and implications about alcohol and drug abuse. Please give him another round of applause. You know, I know we have Captain Kim here. Captain, are you still here? Stand up. Captain Kim is with the Fremont Police Department. We want to assure you we're in safe hands, and we have a wonderful city council, wonderful mayor. We have everything going well for us. Captain.
Thank you so much. You know, I was reading that guest list. Congressman, the district attorney, state governing officers, and Captain Kim Peterson. So I thought, well, which one of these doesn't belong? But truly, I am honored to be here on behalf, really, of Chief Richard Lucero, who unfortunately is out of state today. We really just want to thank you for giving us an opportunity to be part of this event. We value our relationship with all components of our community. And the genesis of this event is really just a celebration of diversity and togetherness. These two things are not mutually exclusive. This event is about tearing down walls rather than building them. Our relationship with our community is the foundation for our success. Mutual trust and respect are especially important in times of uncertainty. We work very hard as a department to make sure our community knows that we are a safe harbor, that in their time of need, we will be there. All you need to do is call. Every time, we will come. But that trust and respect goes both ways, and that interest in helping one another goes both ways. And another thing I want to thank you for as a community is all the support that you gave us over this past year after 2 of our officers were shot and critically injured. We received an incredible outpouring of support from all of you, from all corners of our community. So to close, I just want to thank you for having us here, allowing us to be part of this. And I want to leave you with a quote from author Jacqueline Woodson. Diversity is about all of us and about us having to figure out how to walk through this world together. Thank you.
So let me say something serious, then funny, then funny. The serious thing is this. We all feel safer for having police in our lives. We should remember that. Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. But I cannot imagine a world without folks in uniform keeping us safe. So I'd like one more round of applause, please. All right, so I'm going to ad-lib a little bit here and invite up white guy from North Carolina. White guy from North Carolina, come on up. All right, so white guy from North Carolina showed you a lot of lessons that he learned. The one lesson he did not tell you about is that he's not allowed to be funnier than the MC. Go sit down, white guy from North Carolina. Oh yeah, he's gonna be funnier than the MC.
I'm not gonna be funnier, real quick, because I learned another valuable lesson. I didn't know anybody here tonight. And so I'm shaking hands with everybody, and I didn't realize that I'm actually related to everybody here, because everybody here is either my auntie, my uncle, my doctor, or my engineer.
What did I just tell you? What did I just tell you? All right. We have a very special treat for you next. I'd like to introduce Maria Sokolova. Maria will be doing a belly dancing routine for you. She is beautiful. She is brought to us today by Dr. Hundal. And if you can't tell she's beautiful, the good news is Dr. Hundal is an ophthalmologist, and he'll check your eyes. And oh, by the way, one more thing for Maria, in case you don't have enough to clap for. It's her birthday. Maria. Start the music. Maria will not come out without the music. She's a bit of a diva. most awkward part about that is that I asked my wife while she was dancing, who's the lucky guy who's going to dance with her? And she said, not you. So I have a lot of explaining to do tonight. I would like to invite Jeevan Zutshi back up to the stage, please. Jeevan?
I have the distinct pleasure of introducing our Gopio Silicon Valley President, Ashok Bhatt. Ashok, please come. Ashok Bhatt is a pioneer. He has done a lot of work in the community, and we're very delighted, very honored. He just flew from New York, New Jersey, just to be with us. Mr. Ashok Bhatt.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I will request all of you to stand up for a minute, please, and keep a silence in the honor of the soul who we lost in a just recent timing on hate crime issues from the Kansas City or the North Carolina or any other communities victims also. We would like to be for 1 minute silence for all of them. Thank you. Thank you very much. This is 16th year of our unity and diversity at this platform. Jeevan Jutshi's hardworking and bringing this platform together for Bay Area up to now here. 16 years before, if you see, when he had the first event, then on that time there was a assembly member, Mike Honda. And today, after they finished the Congress, and then now we have about 10 Congress members from Asia alone in this country. This country is a land of a dream, land of a prosperity, welcoming in immigrants for the generations. This country is not a land of hate and crime. This is the country of the unity and diversity. I give you a little history. That's Dalal Singh song, Dilip Singh song, who was the first Congress member from Indo-American community. Then Robert Matsui, Norman Manetta, from Asia, the Congress members became in California. And after then, you can name it, many of them, the Washington State Governor, Bobby Jindal, you can name it, many of those now is there. When 2002, Mayor Willie Brown said on a platform in San Francisco, that time is coming that the minorities are going to be together to be in a majority in this country, to be leading the power of the country. He had a call in the name of the unity, and that is the truth that this country is welcoming to the all communities and all immigrants and all ethnicities. And those are the things today brought it up us together. After the Norman Manetta and the Robert Matsui, today we have 4 Indian Congress members, Indo-Americans, 1 Indo-American senator, federal senator, 3 Chinese Congress members, 2 Japanese, approximately close to a dozen Asians are adopted by this country just in a Congress. We have this first time I had started to make it as assembly. My name is Ash Bhatt, and today eventually the community achieve Ash Kalra as our assembly member. We are proud to say, welcome Ash Kalra. I would like to be making sure that I don't forget my people that who are long time with me, who were, when we started, nothing was here and we just came with the dream. It's a Fiona Ma who was a student on that time, and then we met. And when I was planning to run for a county central committee, Fiona Ma encouraged me that, Ash, I'm going to be with you and then we make sure. Today, she is our state Board of Equalization member. She was the assembly member. Now, Malia Cohen from San Francisco, she is a young, very energetic county supervisor in San Francisco. Betty Yee, many of our council members and the mayors in the hall are here. I'm not remembering the name, and then especially I want to thank you. Thanks to the Honorable Consul General of San Francisco, who cover about 17 states in the United States from San Francisco and very busy scheduling. He always available for the community causes and right there for us. This is all of your efforts, all regardless of the color. We are all getting together here. You can see that today the cultural event, that is a very different cultural event, Chinese events, Middle Eastern events, Indian events. This is all is a unity and diversity. I'm proud to say that Jeevan Zutshi, who did this one for our community in the Bay Area, we are all thankful to him that he is creating this whole new era of the community contributions. Thank you very much.
So I asked Jeevan for an easy transition, and we will now transition from a shock to a shock. It is my honor to introduce the Consul General of India, Mr. Venkatasan Ashok. Please put your hands together.
I'm glad to be the second Ashok, but I hope I'm not a shock. I wish to thank the Indo-American Community Federation for inviting me to this 16th annual Unity Dinner. It's always a pleasure to be here. It's a privilege to be here, to be amongst all of you. And I know that the celebrations here mark a particular day of great poignancy. It is, I think, most appropriate that the theme for this day is renewing the commitment to promoting unity in diversity. As two of the largest democracies in the world, both India and the United States have a special responsibility in setting an example to the rest of the world on how each individual and every community should be enabled to thrive and prosper in a secure environment free of prejudice and discrimination. Ayam nija paro veti ganina laguchetasam udara charitanam tu vasudaiva kutumbakam. This person is my kin, that one is alien. Such a thought occurs only to the narrow-minded people. To the broad-minded person, the whole world is his family. President Obama mentioned this Sanskrit shloka in its English translation in his address to the Indian Parliament in 2010. The Subhashitam is one of the first verses an aspirant in Sanskrit learns in his first course. India has embraced this concept of unity in diversity since thousands of years. Many races and tribes intermingled in early India and made their home there, including the Pre-Aryans, the Indo-Aryans, the Greek, the Scythians, the Hunas, and the Turks. Each group contributed its might to the evolution of the Indian social system to art and architecture, to language and to literature. A remarkable feature of ancient Indian culture has been the commingling of cultural elements from the north and south and from the east and west. Vedic texts indicate ideas, institutions, products and settlements associated with peninsular and non-Vedic India. Similarly, many Pali and Sanskrit terms signifying ideas and institutions developed in the Gangetic Plains find their way to Tamil texts in the Sangam literature, which is roughly used in the period of 300 BC to 600 AD. The eastern region inhabited by pre-Aryan tribals made its own contribution. Since ancient times, India has been a land of several religions. Ancient India saw the birth of Brahmanism or Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism and Sikhism. Christianity came first with St. Thomas in AD 50 and then with the Portuguese and other colonial powers. Islam came to the south and west India with traders who settled in our land and only later with invading armies. All these cultures and religions intermingled and interacted. Even though Indians speak different languages, practice different religions and observe different social customs, they follow certain common styles of life. Our country shows a deep underlying unity despite great diversity. Our ancient poets, philosophers and writers viewed the country as an integral unit. They spoke of the land stretching from the Himalayas to the sea as the proper domain of a single universal monarch. Emperors Ashoka, Samudragupta and Akbar sought to establish their authority from the Himalayas to the southern tip of Kanyakumari, from the valley of the Brahmaputra in the east to the land beyond the Indus in the west. The idea that India constituted one single geographical unit persisted in the minds of conquerors and cultural leaders, and this unity was also recognized by foreigners. Ashoka worked for the unity of India by achieving cultural and religious harmony and administrative efficiency. He laid down a policy of dhamma or ethical rules. These included social welfare, goodwill to all, tolerance among all sects, and non-violence. He consciously put in place policies to unite and knit together diverse sects and beliefs. He even appointed special officers, Dharma Mahamantas, who would supervise the interests of diverse sects and spread the message of Dhamma. Akbar, one of the most liberal-minded of the Mughal emperors, projected the concept of a straight religion, Deen-e-Ilahi, a synthesis of Hinduism and Islam. The Hindu Rajas and Muslim kings recognized literary and artistic abilities in all individuals, whether from one community or another. Kabir and Nanak were greatly influenced by the teachings of Islam. India has never turned away those who came in peace from abroad to seek shelter. Jewish communities came to India as early as 562 BC, as well as subsequently. Christianity came to India in 50 CE, well before it came to Europe, and we have a thriving Syrian Christian community in Kerala for nearly 2 millennia. The early Muslims came to our Malabar coast as traders and stayed on. The Parsi community fled Iran for India following persecution by Muslims and is today one of the most prosperous communities. We have continued this noble tradition even after our independence in 1947. We in India view unity in diversity as a concept where individual or social differences in physical attributes, skin color, religion, music, dance, culture and cuisine are not a source of conflict. Rather, these are differences which are looked upon as variations that enrich the composite fabric of our society and the nation as a whole. Today, the Constitution of India has established the rule of law throughout the entire country. All citizens are equal and subject to the same authority. Birth-based privileges have been abolished. Religion, language, region, caste, or community are no longer the basis of special powers or privileges. The strength and solidarity of the Indian Constitution comes from the binding unity of its cultural diversity. It is reflected in 22 languages, 1,000 dialects, 13 scripts, many religions, varied customs. Yet a common thread ties us together and gives us a unique Indianness. The notions of dharma, normative order, karma, personal moral commitment, and jati or caste, which enabled equilibrium and stability over thousands of years, ensured that no major breakdown took place in our culture. Yet the concept of jati is transformed today. Jati has acquired a new form and it is no longer an effective mechanism of division of labor and status determination. The disadvantaged sections of society have been given special concessions to bridge the gap between them and the upper castes or classes. Today, no caste or social group suffers from any kind of social disability. Women enjoy equal rights with men in all respects. The highest posts in the land are open to anyone. The reason I mentioned all this is not to blow the trumpet about my own country or about a country which many of you have once belonged to and now perhaps have left behind, but to show you how the similarities of unity in diversity, whether it's a very ancient culture of several thousand years or a more modern one of several hundred years, share in common. And I think this is the message that we could take home today as we leave this meeting. Thank you very much.
Let's give another round of applause for the Indian Consulate, Vikantajan Ashok. The next special guest I'm going to announce represents quite a large segment of our state of California. We in Fremont are thinking of having district elections where each council member will represent about 38,000 voters. This elected official represents 9 million Californians. Isn't that impressive? And because of her area of California that represents some of the greatest economic engine of the state, she represents 30% of the revenues that are generated in the state of California. She's a former assembly member from San Francisco, and I hope she's here. I believe she's here. I don't see her walking up. Do we see her somewhere? There she is. It is my distinct honor to introduce our special guest this evening from the State Board of Equalization and its chair, Fiona Ma.
Thank you, David. First off, I want to thank Dr. Besh. Even though he says he is the man in the middle, he is actually in the middle of so many things. Right? Supporting our community in healthcare and education and immigration and the environment. So I want to thank him and his family for their leadership. I also want to recognize and welcome the white guy from North Carolina. He actually forgot. How about the CPAs in the room? But welcome. And then to Jeevan Zutshi. He talked about the Constitution. Uncle Jeevan. He talked about the Constitution, and last night I was at the Asian American Bar Association. And Mr. Khan, do you remember Mr. Khan? He spoke at the Democratic National Convention in Philadelphia. He talked about coming to this country, seeking the American dream. His son joined the army. He died for this country. And he is the man that carries the Constitution with him all the time. So as an American, we all need to be carrying the Constitution and protecting it. And my parents also were immigrants to this country. They came from China, seeking a better life. They wanted us to be a lawyer, accountant, engineer, or a doctor, one of the lead professions. So like the dutiful oldest daughter, I became an accountant. But I never thought I was meant to be an accountant, doing taxes in an office for 16 hours a day, meeting deadlines every 15th of the month. And so somehow I fell into politics, and I wanted to run for office, but my parents wouldn't let me. I met John Burton in 1995, and John Burton always hired a Chinese aide. So I said, Mom and Dad, I want to give up accounting and work for the great John Burton. And of course, that didn't go over very well. So they let me work for him part-time for 2.5 days as his district representative. And that's where I met many of you here in this room. Jeevan Jutsi, Ashok Bhat, and something that Ashok did not tell you is because of Ashok and the community, we passed in 2001 the California Gujarat Sister State Committee and the California Punjab Sister State Committee in 2001 because of Ashok and his leadership and his members. And then in 2002, I wanted to run for the Board of Supervisors. And of course, my mentor, boss, John Burton, was by my side. But what really did it was having the congressman, Mike Honda, fly in from Washington, D.C. and stand by my side. And it's because of our leaders, because of our mentors who helped pull up the next generation that I am standing here on this stage today, that I am able to be honored to serve on the Board of Equalization with the great Betty Yee, that John Chung, our treasurer, is running for governor next year, that Ash Kalra is the first Indo-American ever to get elected to the state assembly. And we have also my very good friend, Assembly Member Kansan Chu, who represented San Jose very ably before being in the Assembly. We have Gilbert Wong, who also is a leader in our community, Raj Sawin, Raj from Fremont, and Lena Tam, who is also one of the great leaders. But after the older generation, it's time for us to step aside. We need to pull up others to represent. And I asked my very good friend, my sister, Malia Cohen. My last name is Ma, which means horse. And when she ran for office, she ran against 25 other candidates for the San Francisco Board of Supervisors. And I said, Malia, I'm gonna give you a name. You are gonna be my sister. You are also gonna be a Ma. And you know what? She won. And she just passed a very important piece of legislation in San Francisco this week. It affects all of us here in this country, and it is about the new leaders who are taking on the good fight to make sure that we have equal rights, civil rights, human rights, and that we are going to remain leaders in not only the United States, but around the world. Malia Cohen, our next leader.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good evening. It's a privilege to be here. Fiona went into great detail about her ascension into power, but I want you to know that this woman has been a leader in my life and has been guiding me in my career across for the last 7 years. I've been twice elected to the San Francisco Board of Supervisors, and she said 25. It wasn't 25, it was only 22. As a CPA, everything counts. But ladies and gentlemen, I have really two messages to leave with you today. First, this is the 21st century, and I think we must continue to stand up as one community, a community of people of color with strength and resolve, and continue to resist the racist and hateful rhetoric that's coming from the White House. And with that said, I wanted to let you know that I passed a piece of legislation unanimously at the Board of Supervisors in San Francisco. And if you know anything about San Francisco, it's very difficult to pass things unanimously. It's a very challenging political climate. But we passed a band, and it was a statement saying that we as a sanctuary city welcome everyone. Whether your religion, whether your race, whether your class, all are welcome. And we will continue to protect and to fight everyone. And we are not going to be collecting information, and we are not going to be storing it in any kind of a database or any kind of a registry. And so that we will continue to stand united as one community. So it's a great privilege to stand before you on this stage. Now, as a representative from San Francisco County, I want to present a certificate of honor from the City and County of San Francisco, recognizing this historic day, 16 years of unity, and may we continue to flourish and have many more. Thank you.
So I did have ulterior motives, being the man in the middle. I will now move to the center of the stage and pose for pictures and put my microphone down and give this proclamation to to these very deserving women. Here's to the man in the middle. Thank you.
Here's to the women that make it possible to the man.
As a father of 4 daughters, that resonates with me. I am more than honored to take the back seat to very wonderful, effective leaders who just happen to be female. Thank you very much, ladies. Thank you so much. Dave Bonacorsi.
Thank you. Thank you. Congressman Rokan, as mentioned earlier, was busy voting no in Washington, D.C. earlier today. And a no that meant yes to so many other things. And in his stead is his district office chief officer, Christopher Moylan, who's got a resolution on behalf of Congressman Rokan.
Well, thank you. I hope I don't have to convince anyone that one person who's definitely in favor of Indo-American unity is our current Congressman Rokan, right? Clearly, he would like to have been here, but as you know, they scheduled a vote for 4:30 this afternoon Eastern Time to repeal the Affordable Care Act, a vote that didn't happen because they didn't realize they had the votes, because a whole bunch of people like Roe were all lined up to vote no. So that's a big relief to a lot of people, although it was a disappointment to the congressman for not being able to be here. So I have come, of course, bearing a certificate of commendation for this organization. But I want to tell you something else. Since I've been covering all the congressman's events today, the new BART station opening, there was one I wish you could have heard, which was a speech and debate activity at Warm Springs Elementary School in Fremont. Those kids start pretty early. And one girl got up and delivered an impassioned speech about how wrong it is to dislike people that you don't know just based on what group they're in. And her speech could have been a keynote speech for this event. I probably should have videotaped it. What is the antidote to hate? That's right. That's exactly what it is. It's love. And for every religious tradition that any of us might have, there is a sacred text that somewhere directs us to love other people who are different from us. Every single one. We have a challenge when someone becomes very powerful and gives a role model of not following that. How do we overcome that? We have 300 million other people who follow the right role model. And based on what I see out of this community, what that girl has learned, the 6th grader, I think everyone around here is doing a very good job at being a role model. And although times are currently a little tough, I think the congressman and I are both optimistic about the future for unity and diversity. So we commend this organization, and I'm hoping that next year they won't be making him vote on something and he can be here to tell you that himself. Thank you.
This next segment of the evening is the photo op. We have many distinguished guests with us tonight. Dave Bonacorsi will call out your name. Please come up and join us, and we will pose for some social media opportunity.
That's right. I call it the 7th inning stretch. So I'd like to introduce back onto the stage Alameda County District Attorney Nancy O'Malley, the Honorable Consul General of India Venkatesan Ashok.
Hold your applause to the end, please. Thank you.
Honorable Deputy Consul General and Commercial Representative Mr. Rohit Rajesh. Honorable California State Controller Betty Yee. Honorable California State Chair Board of Equalization Fiona Ma. Honorable California State Assembly members Kansan Chu, Bill Quirk, and Ash Kalra. Honorable APT Governor Representative to North American, Jarayam Komati. Honorable Santa Clara County Supervisors Cindy Chavez and Dave Cortese. The Honorable Mayor of Fremont, Lily May. The Honorable ex-Mayor of Milpitas, Jose Esteves. The Honorable Mayor of Cupertino, Savita Vaidyanathan. The Honorable Mayor of Pleasanton, Jerry Thorne. The Honorable Mayor of East Palo Alto, Larry Moody. The Honorable Vice Mayor of Milpitas, Marcia Greedy. And my fellow colleagues on the City Council, Vice Mayor Rick Jones, Councilmember Raj Sawant, and Councilmember Vinnie Bacon. From the City of Hayward, Councilmember Francisco Zermino. From the Cupertino Union School District, Anjali Kausa. From the Fremont Unified School District Board of Trustees, Dr. Yan Shao. From the Alameda County Water District, Honorable Aziz Akbari. From the Washington Hospital Board, I think we have Patricia Danielson, and do we have Dr. Bernard Stewart? Are those our two? And we have Dr. Eapen too. Jacob Eapen, please come on up. I wasn't given a name, so I had to look over there. From the City of Dublin, Don Biddle. From the council member from Dublin, I believe he's actually the mayor, Arun Goel. From the Union Sanitary Board, Anjali Latti and Tom Handley. I saw them earlier. From the Fremont Police Association, Sergeant Brian Shadle. And again, if she can come up again, Fremont Police Department Captain Kim Peterson. And if we have a fellow commissioner here, Craig Seckler from the City of Fremont, and if Scott Haggerty is here as well, please come up. And if you're an elected official and I didn't mention you, it's not on my list, please do come up.
And you know who you are, Mike Honda. Get up there. No. Don't be shy now.
I'm here.
Mike, we're waiting for you. I have one very special guest that we forgot to announce. Dr. Krishna Reddy.